I'm okay. We're good. Now we can finish off the festival. We just need to run our seams really quickly and hit the center of the floor. So this whole area shouldn't take us more than 10 minutes to do. We're only looking for some high lap marks and stuff like this, any chunks, just to smooth them out, because then we're running our skim coat. And yes, they make adjustment, like attachments for fittings for your grinder, so you don't have to use tape to hold your. Thank you so much. Oh, it's underneath the wheel. There we are.
So you're talking like those areas like right there that are really high.
And yeah. Just check how your screen is doing. And yep, you're good. So.
Okay.
What's that? Yeah, run this too. Yeah, we can both run these. Yeah, he can run that. You need another shot more right here. Huh? Oh. Thanks, guys. Hold on. So sweaty, dude.
What?
I'm so sweaty. Isn't it hot in there?
It's hot in there.
Oh, shit. Whew, fuck.
Right?
Nobody wants to smell what I smell. I don't know how to get this mic back. Go up and over. Wow. Okay, yeah, whoever wants to. Mix epoxy and we'll start our skim coat. Okay. And we'll mix right here again and if we can. Wow. No concern with how high we stack, I guess, huh? Did you sleep good last night?
It's alright.
Yeah. Oh, just wondering. I don't know why.
What about you?
Yeah, I always. Very good. What's that? Yeah, it is. And I was just popping this off. Yeah, uh-huh. We'll just bring in, say, 2 or 3 of these and one. We'll bring one box in.
So the pair that she has is measured.
Yeah, we'll just pop the tops off. We'll get the drill. There's a drill, there's a paddle. I'll make sure Dom's getting a squeegee and a roller. We'll squeegee and then we'll just cross roll our lap marks real quick just so we don't have any little high spots. And then
Mix ratio.
it's 2 to 1 and it's already this should be pre-mixed, so. Or not pre-mixed, but pre-measured, sorry. This might be a 1.5 kit, which will mean we'd need 2 quarts, so we'll see what we got here.
And what's the square footage on that, on the skim cone?
Yep, this is all. We're gonna see that since the concrete's been sanded and ground, it's probably gonna be sealed pretty well. We probably won't blow through a lot of products, so. Go grab a measure. What's that? Yeah, as long as it's nice and smooth, we can pour on it. We just hate to see a transition or a break, then you have to pour it all again. And we'll use we'll use a window squeegee. Something.
Oh, okay. We were like, what?
The squeegee is good if you're like flooding something, but when we skim coat, we'll always use a squeegee. We can even use one of these magic trowels if we have a big enough one.
Do they get on to the end of the?
They should screw right on. I can put it on this one. Put that on there.
Cool.
And
And
then,
then he's getting you one.
okay.
That's some.
It's important to screw these down too, because it sucks once it gets epoxy all over it. It starts turning on you, and then you can't adjust it at all.
So that just keeps it in one.
Yes. Sometimes we'll be able to like scrape in our edges, like with
Oh, okay.
stick metal, skim it, like, but plastic flex is enough too. What's that?
We're gonna want to put foil tape down on our foundation.
Yeah, we'll bring this. I probably have that other roll in there sitting on the. Remember, we won't even pull the T-bar stuff out. Because why would we T-bar now?
We would not.
Because if they didn't really throw that much around, we don't need to vacuum the whole thing. What's that? No. I'll show you. I just vacuum it. I'm sorry. I didn't realize they sanded that much. Have you guys vacuumed all the way across here? Okay, then we'll start skimming here while they finish vacuuming here. You did sand it though? Okay. So we can start mixing that. We're gonna magic trowel. The magic trowel is just a squeegee, such as this. So if you notice, the ends are less likely to dig in, so you don't get, because the ends are kind of extended like that, they're off their edge than their window squeegee. Does that make sense? This is just our and we're gonna cross roll just to get any lap marks or anything. And instead of getting the lint-free roller, foam is your only true lint-free roller. This is a real easy way to keep lint and fiber off a roller. Yeah, we'll start mixing as soon as you're ready. Yes, sir. Hey, so they're gonna start mixing epoxy now. Sure. Do we have a bits? Add 2 per. Yeah. Uh-huh. You see, no matter how much vacuum and sweep, you still blow chunks out. There's still tons. I think the leaf blower, you have to have it on every job. Even if you sweep and vacuum, run this real quick just to guarantee you got everything off your floor. And you're good. You can keep going. You're good. Those are just white. Those are all just clear plastic. Yeah. We can pop all 3 of those. I bet we use them all. We can get them all ready. Oh, and I got you a screwdriver and a putty knife. Screwdriver I brought you.
Terminal agents.
I got you a screwdriver. I went to the back just for you, and then, well, I did my best and failed.
Not the fail, but
Yeah, I did fail. Fail at that. I don't know where I set it down.
it's probably a little stronger than that. Oh yeah. We'll have to take the drape tape.
Here you go.
Don't want to ruin the key.
Thank you for your help. And you will want to watch those because I always roll those up.
Do I need to build a dam right now, Joel?
Yeah, I don't,
That lip's enough.
oh, I think that's plenty of that tile. I wouldn't worry about that.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Dude, that grinder wheel is like the most sack of shit I've ever,
Really?
worst thing I've ever touched. Oh, I'm sorry, man. Sorry about that. In your way.
Alright, then we'll probably just push over on that carpet now.
Yeah, as long as we get everything off the floor, put it on the carpet, wherever, it doesn't matter. It's easier if you don't roll it up from this end.
Really?
To roll it up from the end. It will roll and you can actually twist it,
Makes sense.
if that makes sense. Unless they unplugged it from here, which now they did. Now they. But if you ever roll up a cord that's plugged in, it's going to get all nasty and tangled.
Right.
So you want to do these one at a time?
You can probably mix two right away. If somebody wants to dump the color in there, two each in the first. Yeah. Or next week, whatever. Sorry. Due to the like really thin viscosity on this, you don't have to switch buckets when you're mixing the flooring. We're just gonna stop 1 minute into our mix. We're gonna drill mix, and 1 minute in, 1 minute in, we're gonna stick mix. So scraping the edges and the bottoms of the container. So we gotta stick. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, really hot.
Thank you so much. Do that with it being so cold.
It is cold. I wish it was warm.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You like the
And, oh, that's totally okay. No, that's perfect.
So why do you mix color in with your skin?
If we were worried about moisture, we would not.
Okay.
Trade the slab. Considering it's inside and the building has been built 30 years ago, I'm not really concerned with any kind of. We're gonna get good adhesion, and it'll help start blocking. I'm not gonna see a total block of color on the skim.
You're just trying to help stop block color.
Yeah, so that when we do our flood coat, it's gonna be that much easier to block color. Hopefully, by the time we cross roll and squeegee it, it'll be good enough to where you 70% or 80%. So.
And it makes it for 3 minutes.
Well, yeah, kind of just to get the color. But if you thought there was moisture, we would not mix color right now. Why would we not mix color if we thought there was moisture? Huh? Yeah. Kelsey knows. Kelsey's quiet, but she's super smart. Kind of like Sarah. Quiet and super smart.
And if you guys have brown dirt, I can get
You want to grab a rag and a box of rags and alcohol? Give some to him. He has color all over his hands. Yeah, he threw it and I saw it's all over his fingers. That'll never dry. Yeah, he has it's white on your fingers. It'll never dry, so you just got to wash it off with alcohol. Or it'll keep sticking to everything. It's incredible how far that makes it. You'll see it in your truck and then your house and then. Now the important part about stick mixing is that you're scraping the bottom and the sides. So when you're stick mixing, your goal is not really to mix the epoxy at all. You're already drill mixing epoxy. You're trying to scrape the sides and down in the corners where the paddle can't reach to get any A or B off the sides of that container. And the corners, bottom. So usually you're going to run the drill for 1 minute, then you're going to stick mix for 30 seconds to a minute, then you're going to drill for another minute. So you need a minimum of 3 minutes mixed with a drill with a stick in the middle minute. So usually once you're pouring, your mixing guy can start leapfrogging a whole bunch of buckets. So if you had like 300 buckets, which we've mixed, I think 330 or something, mixed every single time, and we just had 3 or 4 guys, and they drill mix, jump to the next one, come back to this one after they stick mixed. So what do you think on a big square footage job? What's your biggest limiting factor on time? The number one thing, by far, anything else? No, time. Temperature would mean you can't even be there, are you? Mixing, yeah, exactly. So usually your guys running the product on the floor can move faster, especially if it's open. If it's cut up, they can't. But if it's a real open square footage, your guy spreading. Yeah, one guy can keep up with 4 guys mixing. So if you want to cut your job time down, add more mixers. So that's your biggest limiting factor. But we ran over 10,000 square feet with no skilled help, and it took us 4 hours and 40 minutes. 12,000. I'm kidding, 1,200. So. Yeah. You'd have a lot of people who wouldn't have a clue. They'd be like, you'd have a lot of people like, oh, cool. Yeah, it's 1,200 a month, exactly. So. We're gonna mix two. We may have some left over. We might have to mix a third. We're gonna kind of see, because we already sanded. This was glue on this floor, and the way we get glue up is we sprinkle floor patch on the floor and use a sander with 16 grit carbide. Then we run over it with 80 grit carbide. And the reason we sprinkle floor patch with all that glue, the adhesive, has anyone ever tried to remove carpet glue? And it just sticks to everything. It's a disease. It's terrible. As soon as you sprinkle floor patch and start sanding it, the floor patch absorbs all the moisture out of the glue, and you basically just vacuum up powder. So you just scuff it off. This right here is just from sanding floor glue with floor patch on it. So it's the best way you could ever remove any glue. But it also really seals the floor up, so I'm not really sure how much is going to soak in right now. So. You probably have 3 minutes in that bucket now, right?
Yeah, I'm about to. I got one more
Oh, right.
time in that one. That'll be a second in this one, and I'll finish on this.
Cool, perfect.
Salt cutting stuff we were filled with kind of sunk down. Will that matter now?
Not really. Yeah. Yeah, and once we pour this, whatever absorbs and is still empty tomorrow, we'll fill in with Bondo or caulking or something like that. I see some that's really cracked out, so.
This is just going to be your skim coat.
Seal everything up, yeah.
Everything, then you go back in.
You'll start seeing, I don't even know to patch until we see it.
Low spots or something like that. High spots.
Yes, sir.
Then after your skim coat, then you grind down any high spots.
You sand them, yeah. Now, from now on, we'll probably only sand, so we don't want to expose concrete if we don't have to. How long have you been on this bucket?
This one I've been about 24.
I'm so impatient. I just thought about it. I'm like, I better get you out of the video.
We'll give them half of the video to show everybody. I really don't know.
We just cleaned, Leah.
I was just holding it. Do you want this any longer, or is this okay?
No, that's perfect.
Okay,
That's, yeah. Better be perfect, because I think it's epoxied. All right, who's going to cross roll? Anybody have that big roller?
Right now we don't
Yeah, and we won't cross roll until I get quite a ways and can't reach anymore. Very organized here. Yeah, the concrete's not very porous right now. It's very sealed from all that glue. You can tell. It's not soaking in, which is not. That's not a problem at all. If it doesn't soak in because your concrete's sealed with glue or something like that, then it's great because it just bonds really well. So. Now, if you pull this too fast, you're going to skip up and go over the top of it all. If you pull it too slow, you'll end up not leaving any on the concrete at all. Huh? We'll kick up the thermostat a bit if we can. As soon as we're out of here, we'll get it as warm as we can get it. Cooks that bitch out next door. If you ever need to use a real estate agent, I know one not to use. She works right. Yeah, ever finished a deal without making the customer so angry? I wanted to see the way her to meet you was apologizing for her before he ever knew anything about us. Like, I know she can be, I think she can be that thing I'm not supposed to say. But Ethan was talking to the customer. Used to be his office right here. She started banging on the wall with her fist. Telling him to shut up. Just having a conversation. You guys notice I'm trying to stay as organized as possible, right? Definitely don't move too quick and get unorganized with this. It'll just waste your time. Don't too quick because we don't want our roller to get all wet and start struggling with this, right? Yeah, that's right. So you can pour it up on the wall and then come back and pull it back away from the wall. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's you were paying attention. We got that other bucket? We'll pour it right down the same line. Right on the epoxy, the existing. Yep. If you pour it out this way, a lot of guys, they'll pour their new batch of epoxy and they'll pour it out in front of the line that they're working. And then the guy on the floor, say you're T-barring it or squeegeeing it like this, especially on a big job, it really starts adding up when every time you pour a bucket, if you had 300 buckets, you have to waste one whole trip across the floor pushing it back onto the existing epoxy and then start pushing it back. So a job that could have been done in 6 hours takes you 12 hours just based on how the guy pours. So it sounds dumb, but little things like that can take up a ton of time. Yeah, I'm sure we'll end up using it. Yeah, we don't want to be walking into it every.
When should he start using the roller?
As soon as he thinks he can't reach anymore. You definitely, you don't want to get into any of the wet stuff that, you don't want to get too close to what I'm working on. Or it'll just soak the roller and then it doesn't do any good. Go across your expansion joints at an angle, and I'll let you take this over here in a sec. But don't go across your expansion like that. See how it chops down in there? Okay, so go across the angle, and it should leave plenty of product in that joint. Exactly, and just mostly just hitting every square foot, making sure that if I left like a big squeegee chop mark or a drip or something like that, that you're picking it up. Yeah, just as long as you don't hit as long as you're not hitting the deep stuff. Anybody want to run the squeegee? Yeah, just trying to set up concrete. That's all I'm doing here. I don't want a whole bunch of air bubbles in this. No, it actually has a lot to do with how porous the concrete is, how much it stays white. How fast I pull it. I'm pulling a little bit quicker now.
So how much pressure when you go back to the roller?
Not a ton. You just, you're not moving enough product, instead of applying more pressure, just slow it down a little more and it'll work way better. Yeah, that's fine. If you guys want to. Anybody that wants to use the roller, the squeegee can. Yeah, I was gonna see how much we have here. Maybe let him roll this and then I'll come back and pull it down. I think I might be moving a little bit fast too. If I slow down just a tiny bit, I'll probably pull a little more product. Yeah, just slowing it down a little bit. Yeah, whoever wants this. Now try to walk up right with the squeegee right here along your line. Don't pull it back.
Just,
Yeah, do whatever you want. I was just pulling all the product this way.
okay.
Otherwise, you'll end up with it all over the place. So, and usually when I'm walking with, yeah, so if it drips, it's dripping right on the line that I'm going to overlap again.
So you're saying until you get comfortable with doing 2 or 3 coats like this?
Yeah, see how you're leaving the epoxy on both sides of the squeegee? See how a ton of it's pouring off both sides? You don't want a ton pouring off this side, because you can't let him cross roll and cross roll 4 gallons into the floor. So you got to keep like a snowplow, like a road grader. Yeah. Keep pushing. Now see how you turn the squeegee this way, so then you start going that way?
Yes.
The angle of the squeegee should have nothing to do with the direction it moves.
Okay.
So if you start losing too much off this side, you're going to have a void here. So then you'll have to straighten your squeegee out a little bit more.
How does this look?
You're good. You're fine. See how you completely missed that overlap though?
I did.
Yeah, see this big pile right here? Because
Just
instead of, so like the next time your squeegee comes down, it doesn't need to be here. You could be like half squeegee, biting off a little bit at a time, so you're not leaving a ton of epoxy on that side.
so to fix this, I just
I wouldn't overthink it. He's got to cross roll it.
and then when I'm going back, I drip this way.
Yep.
So really, the roller's more of a cleanup.
Yep, making everything smooth, even, no little high spots, not too big of drips. Try to make a straighter line here. Be real organized. Straight as you'd want your grasp mode. And see, you're really angling that squeegee, and you don't need all that epoxy in the center of the floor. You need it down this way. Here, I'm gonna help you, and I'm gonna give it right back. So if you're pulling, you want a pretty straight line, and we don't need all the epoxy all of a sudden to have 2 gallons in one little pile in the center as it keeps coming together. If you pull, see, I could pull this right here, but I'd be leaving all this epoxy over there. If I pull enough of an angle and I pull over far enough, I'm going to end up with bare spots down there and all the epoxy in the middle. So just bite off a little bigger of a section here and then leave the squeegee straighter. Does that make sense? And I'm going to purposely go just about quick enough so I can see somewhat of a white floor behind myself. And the more organized you are, the easier it's going to be for you to calculate. Because once you end up with a really chopped up, uneven floor, the guys trying to support you have no idea how much to mix, what to mix, where to mix it, where to pour it, because you'll just have old epoxy and piles everywhere. So usually it's better to kind of move slow and keep everything really squared up. Mixing, they'd pour their epoxy on this line again, and you'd have a whole nother fresh row to start pulling. So here, now you can continue finishing this out. Here, somebody else. And just stop somewhere in here, because we still want some room to carry buckets at least around the corner or something. You can pull it down to maybe the corner or something, whatever you want to. But just always leave yourself an out. Now remember, you're giving yourself a small exit here, but you have a lot of epoxy out there to pull. Does that make sense? So you got to start working this epoxy forward. Awesome. We'll pour it right down along that hole. We'll do like a big right here. We'll pour it down here and try to get all the way to, and we won't go too close to that.
Try to get a U around and go around the corner.
And stay a few feet off that transition.
Okay.
What's that? Yeah, you can start up here. That's fine. You can pour all the way down here. Yeah, no, you can start that right there. That's fine. This guy actually works, which is nice because then you don't be too far away. We just want to make sure you're not pouring it so thick right on the transition that it's going to go over it before we can get to it with the squeegee. Yeah, you go closer. I just wanted to make sure we're not pouring it to where it could ever go over it.
We're gonna need that 3-gallon kit now? Everything?
We have another 1.5, right?
No.
Yeah.
Out there, yeah. I just, the ones that you already brought in was two, 1.5.
I'd just grab one more 1.5 and maybe we'll see what this does. I think we probably have enough here.
Yeah?
Yeah, because of VCT, we'll need to.
So do you think we should mix one?
I think so. You may as well. Yeah.
Do you need any more white?
No, we still have to.
See, now when he cross rolls what you're doing, even though it's chopped, that's fine. He'll cross roll that and make it real even. But you might want to get out of his way. You might want to come over here and work this, and then he'll be able to reach.
Finish here or?
I don't know if he'll be able to reach, so you let him stand where you're standing, and then work this area for a minute, and then he'll go over, because I bet he needs to stand in here.
So at the end, I push and then come.
Yeah, just to start. So just push a little bit in there, like this. And now that you have enough, there. Now you can just run it straight and let it go up there. And the only time you're going to start being careful is when you get to our door. You wouldn't want it up over the tile. You move nice and slow at the doorway.
Finish result, are you gonna still see all the?
Oh, when it's done? No, we're just priming our slab to keep air from coming through.
Okay.
This is nothing. So this is not decorative, guys. This is just so that we stop any air so we're not getting bubbles in we're going to do a flood coat in here and do like a white marble countertop type look.
At the door, should I go?
Yeah, just be kind of careful with it. Just as long as you take your time and you're being kind of careful, it's fine. Yeah, I'd hope I'd got fired if this was a final floor.
Yeah, it's eclectic. Be careful not to step in it. So close. No, not you. Her boot.
You're doing good. Now sometimes, I'm going to give it right back to you. Sometimes you can go ahead and...
Is it okay that it's thicker there?
Well, I can pull it back out, but I've got to get it up to that transition, right? So right now I'm not worried about the thickness. I'm just trying to make sure I get coverage all to my corners. Now, you can come along, just like we did on a wall, we can come along and pull that back off the wall. There you are. You're doing very good. We'll just keep pulling it down. So. You won't want to get into, see how you're getting into that thicker stuff? Right. Go dry your roller out somewhere. Otherwise, it'll be so thick, you can even dry it out here probably, even though there's some epoxy on it. Yeah, that's a big old puddle there. Now, it's real easy to start getting too thick cross-rolling. He only has to get in the pile a few times, and then it ends up we're just rolling the floor, and it ends up twice as thick as we want it. So to keep it thin, you want to keep, now he's drying his roller out on not as wet epoxy area.
Up against the wall, do you want me to try to dry it over there?
I think he's good now. Now you got a ton of epoxy over here too. You might want to pull some of this and just work this area. I'm not a very patient guy. Huh?
Not Dom face on the backside and didn't even notice.
Huh?
Said he got Dom on the backswing in the face and didn't even notice.
That's awesome. Where's Dom? Dom needs tough love like that. Pull in the face. Just take your time and see where she's standing cross rolling. That doesn't need cross-rolled anymore. He already cross-rolled it like 3 times. It'd be better if she just moves. The cross-roller, you can just get out of the way and come over here where she rolled this, and then let the squeegee guy work. Yep. Now, and there's not really time. Once your epoxy's on the floor, there's no time to honestly even be polite, or you just got to kind of work around each other and be quick. So you could always shorten that if you needed to.
Where he's doing it now, though.
You'll cross roll right in here, and now you're about to go on the epoxy.
I'm giving up my tools. Now I'm trying to get his head.
Here, come over here right now, and put your roller right out there.
Excuse me.
And you don't need to extend it. You're fine.
I'm short.
Okay.
I'm also a klutz. This makes me so nervous.
Hey, Dom. Hey, we might grab spikes. I'm betting.
Exactly what he was just asking.
I'm betting this isn't going very quick. Or
Hold on.
Can I get
here, let me see this.
You go?
Here, let me see this.
Yes, sir.
Watch this. And now take that pile and work down that wall if he needs to. And we don't need to overwork any of this area here. We don't need to roll it too much because we're only looking for high spots, right? So if it's faster for you guys to just stay out of each other's way and take turns, just do that because we just want to be quick to get out of here because the epoxy is not getting easier to work. Just a regular. Yeah, this I think is a 3/8 snap roller, and we just torched it just so it won't have lint on it. And now, if we don't need this, we're not going to just keep cross-rolling just to cross-roll. A lot of times there'll be 2 people working, and both people won't quit working, if that makes sense. One person, if you're done cross-rolling, it'd be better just to stay out of his way. Now you'll want to think you could work your way into a corner to where it's hard to get out because right now you're dripping epoxy and you keep wiping it up against the wall. You need to think tactically, like,
I'm gonna take it out like this and go.
do you have enough epoxy to pull from up there?
I was gonna pull some from right here.
Okay, and then you got to pull it and then push it all the way up and then push it over and then pull it back?
Yeah.
Yeah, just be thoughtful. That's all I'm saying. You can end up working twice as hard.
Yeah, this epoxy's starting to set up. I can feel it.
Uh-huh. Now, you're dripping everywhere and you're stepping in it, so take your shoes off when you leave. By the way, what he's doing, what Jose's doing is a lot harder than you think. It looks super easy, but it's actually, being organized can be a pain in the ass. But he's not doing himself any favors right now, working himself into a corner.
Who's Jose? Eric?
Can you start like pulling equally?
I don't. Hey, stop. Hey, you got to stop that, dude. You're gonna fucking fall in the epoxy. You're working your way into a corner. I mean, you do whatever you want to. You do whatever you want to, but I don't know what you're planning on doing now.
I'm gonna get skinny.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. This is proof that intentions are great, but you better watch yourself.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna get.
Yes.
John,
That wasn't hard.
he was like, I knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah. That's better.
Go.
I bet the number one mistakes I see on jobs are that guys get into situations like that and they just say it was hard, like, so they just don't do it. Like, they'll miss doing something correctly just because it was difficult. Before I got, like, he's standing in epoxy right now. standing in epoxy, I would have pushed epoxy up. There's just, you either do it right or you don't do it. Like, there's only one way to do it. You are standing in it, by the way.
I don't wanna move my feet anymore.
This is beautiful. I know, right?
You wait until dry and then apply some more there, or
Never.
take it?
This is his first time, so that's okay.
No, no,
But if we're on a job, you'd just be organized and you would have enough right there. You would never just not cover an area and say, well, we'll just have another 24 hours on the job site, especially this office area. Usually you're slammed for time on these jobs because guys like me own the company and are like, dude, you've got to let us back in our office space right now. So, and they'd probably have a $5,000 a day contract with you or something where you start paying if you're late. So, hey, Dom, we got those spikes? Here. Here, let me see that squeegee real quick. I'm gonna go fix this. We'll need cardboard, Dom. Over here, somewhere for me to step off.
We also need some alcohol and a rag.
Yeah, make sure he doesn't step on the carpet. Huh? Perfect. If you just throw it on the floor, I'll just step on it as I come off this floor. Yeah. Perfect. Now, always cut your walls in first. You won't run into as many issues. You see how one person's tracking it around on their shoes? Yeah, I know, but now that he walks around, now everybody's fucked because one person had to step in it and walk in it. This whole job, if you had 10 people working on a big square footage job, you have carrying stuff out by the door that 4 hours later is so tacky it'll pull your shoe off. So that's why, like, when you say you're stepping in epoxy, like, he probably wouldn't have been on my job anymore, ever, unless he, I know it's learning, but little things like this, when you see them happen, it doesn't matter that it's difficult. You fucking do it or you don't do the job. So your customer's never going to be like, oh, I know it was hard, so it didn't have to be right. Here, I'll get out of your way here. I'll move and you can probably find some dry spots in here to stand on. I don't know. And you can always ask your buddy to come and help you to get some epoxy off with some rags and alcohol. Buddy Dom.
We'll probably have everybody start piling out now. As soon as he gets this area done, we'll probably have everybody just jump out and come on. You got the second pocket. Do you want support?
Yeah, hold up 1 second, Dom. Yeah, I'll try to pull it off I'll try to pull it backwards off of it. A lot of times I let it kind of pile up, and then if you give it a few, like 20 minutes or so, or 10 minutes, it seems to pour back off enough to where when you run your squeegee like this, you can usually cut it off pretty clean. Yeah, it's actually coming off pretty clean right now. No, thank you. And by the way, thanks for doing that.
I'll probably need this over by the door.
Yeah, probably. I'm just like not wanting to walk on the floor anymore. You know what? I'll take them off right now if I can.
Okay.
There you are. And I think whatever you roll in there, will be good. Sorry, and thank you.
Don't forget to flip it out.
Hey. He'll need spikes if we wait any longer.
Would you normally have a couple of foam rollers and a couple feet of squeegee on a job? Just because it gets too chaotic?
Yeah, I'd be done by myself if I didn't. You do this once or twice and you'll be so fast at it. I would have ran the rest of that wall real quick, dumped it out while I'm squeegeeing, let it settle, cross rolled. Like the amount of cross rolling is that it's good, but it's not nearly that. You're just literally trying to soak up high spots. If there's a big puddle, you run across it and it's done. So.
Are you worried about low spots with cross rolling too? Like,
Nope, not at all. And we'll want to wait a minute. I might have got too close already for him. I hope I didn't.